Hello and welcome to the sample 3-point presentation. Today I'll be giving you a guide for creating a professional presentation that moves the conversation where you need it to go. Let's take a look. The main idea I want you to walk away with after this talk is that you've got to get your main idea in front of the audience now. And you've got to tell them what you want to happen next. This isn't a murder mystery. This isn't a movie or a TV show where suspense, it helps you and builds. No, you don't want that. You don't want suspense here. You want them to have the main idea first, and then you want them to react by asking you questions. And the questions are all about you getting either the next meeting or the sale or the job or the contract. And that leads us to the main content. And these are the 3 points you care about. When we talk about the 3-point presentation, these are the 3 points. The takeaway, the bridge, and the call to action. Let's start by looking at that takeaway. This is your chance to frame the problem or the opportunity in terms that are going to help you. This is your chance to start pre-selling. The listeners should be demanding that you explain your position. That's the test of a good takeaway. And you want to motivate your audience based on their pre-existing hope for gain or fear of loss. Let's look at that in a little bit more detail. So you're going to start off by framing the conversation. And framing the conversation simply means you're telling this in terms that the stakeholder cares about. So what does he see as the problem? What does he see as the priority? What does he see as a good solution? That's how you're framing this. And you're basically answering the question, why should they care about you? So you know you've done a good job with your takeaway if the listener is stopping you, interrupting you, and demanding to hear more about something. And this is something I really want you to orient yourself to. Good presentations get interrupted. So you deliver your high value proposition in a single sentence. And when I say your value proposition, what I mean is how you are going to help the other person. And then you're going to anticipate concerns or friction points. And then 2 and 3 lead us to this next thing. Are they about hope or fear? Decision makers are motivated by hope for gain, or otherwise known as greed, or fear of loss, otherwise known as panic. And they're going to try to tell you which one they are, and it's up to you to figure it out. It's going to be one or the other, and you're going to focus on just that one emotion. So don't argue against yourself. If you are talking to someone who fears loss, then don't tell them about how much money you're going to make them because it makes you sound reckless. If you're talking to someone who wants gain, who wants sales or wants new deals, then don't tell them how cautious you are and how safe you are, because it's going to make you sound like you are not the right person. So you're going to figure out what is already in their head and in their heart. Are they hoping for gain? Are they talking about a sales position? Or do they fear loss? Do they need someone in accounting? So once you've grabbed their attention with a good takeaway, now you've got to build a bridge between how they see the world, how they see this issue, and what you want them to do. And you start building that bridge by doing a stakeholder analysis or incorporating your stakeholder analysis that hopefully you've already done. So every presentation is tailored specifically to the listener, and it's still designed to get a specific response. You don't want to solve all of their problems. You want to solve the problem that you get paid to do, that you get paid for. So you're going to be deciding based on the stakeholder analysis, are you mobilizing, are you influencing, or are you persuading? Sometimes you're informing. What you really want to do is mobilize. We'll get to this in a little bit. But the more direct the action you can encourage them to perform, the better off you're doing. Hope or fear motivates people, hope for gain, and fear of loss. And that is where you want your stakeholder analysis to end up, with knowing whether they're hoping for gain from you or fearing loss that you can help them prevent. I'm stepping out of role again. If I want to go into more detail, or if you want to go into more detail, it's perfectly fine to insert more slides within each one of the points. I don't want you going beyond the 3 points. I don't want you corrupting your structure. Keep the structure tight, but you can add here, like if I wanted to go into more detail about those ideas I just mentioned, mobilizing, influencing, persuading, and informing, I would be able to drill down deeper. And the final part of the presentation, what the whole thing is heading up to, and really where it all begins, is the call to action. And this is the whole point of the presentation, because this is the ask. This is where you ask the other side to do something. And the CTA is a goal, so the CTA should be SMART. And I mean specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timed. And at all times, both parties should know what your CTA is about. You've got to know what you're asking for, and the other side has to know what you're asking for. Now, part of asking for your call to action is the knowledge that the other side has their own agenda and possibly their own call to action. So you've got to do a little maneuvering to make sure that your CTA gets delivered. So you know that good presentations get interrupted. You are going to prepare for this by using visuals, either images or typography or punctuation. I'll show you an example in a minute. You've got something behind you that is either going to help you or hurt you, and you want it to help you. So we're going to look at that in a second. But remember that listeners react to one thing. It's usually that hope-fear thing, and it's up to you to use tools that will help you focus on that and bring the conversation back there. So I want you to look at these two images. You're talking about Hanoi Digital City as the future of Hanoi. And you've got two images here. One is HDC, Hotel Digital City, as a global leader. And the other is on the right, Hanoi must deal with infrastructure challenges. Well, what's the difference between these two when you are giving your presentation about the future of Hanoi Digital City, the bright future of Hanoi Digital City? Well, if you're talking to a hope person who is investing in Hanoi Digital City, or is investing in a real estate project, you are using a very hopeful, very attractive image that is going to get them thinking about gain, thinking about success. And then on the left are all your, all your attributes of this new city: next-gen 5G, smart traffic, incentives for low admissions, etc. Now let's take another example, the same text. You'll notice that all the bullet points on the left are exactly the same. What's changed is the heading and the image. I'm saying the same thing, but now I'm talking about Hanoi infrastructure challenges. Why? Maybe I'm talking to someone from the government, or maybe I'm talking to someone who has a bank or has heavy investments in existing investments in Hanoi, and they want to see the city modernize. So here I'm using an image that is not really negative, but is definitely something that they, traffic jam, something that they may worry about, and you're going to feed on those or play on those worries and contribute to moving the conversation where you want it to go. Final word, the speaker owns the first 30 seconds of the presentation, and after that, it's up for grabs. So you've got to make most of the time you've got by giving him the message that you want him to remember, and then bridging to the call to action of what you want him to do. And the second thing you have to take away from this up for grabs idea is you want to make sure that you are in some way influencing where this conversation goes, so that when you do lose control of the conversation, you've not lost control of your message or of the call to action. Thanks very much. I will talk to you more about this later.